I don't care if it's simple or not. If you can put three chords together and make it sound awesome,
Yeah.
then that's what you should do.
It was the blueprint for what's to come in 80s hard rock.
There's times where I listen to Pour Some Sugar on Me and I'm like, shit, did they invent rap rock?
This song absolutely shreds. It climbs the ladder, it delivers.
The first song that I was like, holy fuck, was Animal.
Look at you with the album tracks. I love this shit, dude.
A song that when we were in high school, this was a dance song.
That's probably in my top 3 live performances of all time.
The more I can relate to the message of wondering whose war are we fighting.
7-day weekend, up all night.
That might be one of the catchiest choruses of all time.
And they're still killer, so I don't care what you say.
Well, Charlie heard you talking about Love Bites, so now she's got to go puke outside. So.
And I want to touch you.
Make rock great again. Hey, somebody's got to do it.
Look, I came here to do two things: chew bubblegum and talk hair metal. And it looks like I'm almost out of bubblegum.
Welcome to the Hair Metal Guru. My name is Anthony. They call me the Guru. And if you notice, Ryan and I got our Def Leppard shirts on. And sorry, mine's a tank top, but it's the only really good Def Leppard shirt I have.
Oh, it looks good on you, though.
Does Barry Manilow know that you raid his wardrobe?
Because we are going to count down our 12 favorite Def Leppard songs of all time. We figured it was appropriate to do this because about a month and a half ago, we did a Def Leppard Roundtable, talked about our favorite Def Leppard albums of all time. So what better time than to do our favorite songs of Def Leppard? So with that, Ryan, welcome back to the show.
All right. Well, thanks for having me, dude. From the roundtable, you could tell I'm pretty passionate about this band. Next in line, AC/DC, falls Def Leppard. And, at one point in my life, it was probably Van Halen. It was probably Motley, maybe Crocus, maybe Y&T. But I have settled on Def Leppard. They're extremely diverse, extremely wonderful. I love them. They're still great. They seem like they really gel well together. They're good boys. They're good friends. Right. So I never get sick of this band. I probably listen to them as much as AC/DC. So
I love the Def Leppard story. I think I may have mentioned this before, but Pete Willis, alcoholic, has to leave the band. But how many bands would have waited for your drummer losing their arm? Yeah. And they're still, it's the original fucking band.
I know.
Except for, Steve Clark dies. They bring in Vivian Campbell. I mean, they've had just an amazing career. And you're right. They seem like good dudes. They are still together. So, and to your point, there was a time, and I think it's when Hysteria came out. If you saw the roundtable, and I'll put that video in the comments, I did say that I don't think Hysteria had aged very well, but when it came out, Def Leppard was my favorite band. Def Leppard was number one. I loved that. I still do love that album. It was later on I grew to kind of start to appreciate Pyromania and High and Dry. But man, Def Leppard has to be in the conversation and probably is the biggest rock band of the 80s. They're the only band that I can think of that had 2 diamond-selling albums in Pyromania and Hysteria. I mean, Bon Jovi had 1. There's other bands had 1, but 2 10 million selling albums. Unbelievable career. And man, so like I said, one of the biggest bands of the hair metal genre. Some people might say they're not hair metal. I count them as hair metal. They did the stadium tour. They're up there with Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses, and whoever you consider to be the top bands. So before we get into it, hey, if you're new to the channel, please like, subscribe. You have the opportunity to become a member. What the hell? Ring the bell. Get notifications if you like this kind of hair metal content. And I'm going to show 2 things that I've framed recently, and maybe not hair metal related, but I love the debut Boston album. Who doesn't love the song More Than a Feeling? Long Time, Peace of Mind, great album, sold 16, 17 million copies. Yeah. This came from a Rolling Stone magazine.
Talk about a cool story, man. You're talking about Def Leppard's cool story. That is a cool story. That dude did it all in his basement. He had the vision about that, and he
Exactly.
revolutionized shit, man. That was great.
Oh, that was a game changer in the 70s. That
Totally.
that sound was so people are like, what the fuck is
Yeah,
this? In 76? Are you kidding me? So
exactly.
I think it came out in 76. Was it 76 or 77? I think it was
Yeah.
76. Anyway. And then one from Kiss, and I'm not showing any Def Leppard stuff because I showed most of my Def Leppard stuff when we did the roundtable. But for the 1980 album Unmasked, which not my favorite Kiss period, but Kisstory is still awesome no matter the way you look at it. So a couple decent songs on that. But there's a couple frame things. So
Cool.
with that, we had been doing 10 songs. Ryan, who's like the biggest Def Leppard fan in the world, begged me to do 12. So I was like, fine, we'll do 12 Def Leppard songs. With that, let's get into it. Ryan, what is your number 12 favorite Def Leppard song?
Well, appreciate it, dude. You gave me the leeway for two more. I don't think I could have. I honestly couldn't have whittled it down. So I
Okay.
appreciate it.
Okay.
I am bugged and struggling at the fact that I didn't include the song called Four Letter Word off the X album. Okay. And I only bring it up now. It's not like my tricky 12.1 thing.
Right.
And it isn't honorable, but I was thinking about this song. If those out there didn't pay attention to the X album, because it's interesting. There's a song called Four Letter Word on there.
Yep.
This is not my number 12. It's so good. I realized recently that it kind of pisses me off because that album is not like this.
Right.
This song is harking back to classic, huge chorus, killer Def Leppard. And it's so amazing. And I love it. But it kind of bugs me that they're like, let's just do one to appease the old fans. Maybe.
Right. Right.
But I love that song. And for those of you that don't know it out there, it's beyond an honorable. It's way more than that. But I didn't put it on here because it's not a classic. So,
Okay.
do you know that song, by the way?
Can I do know that song, and I just want to say, like, so admittedly, Def Leppard in the last recent albums, I haven't been a guy who's been going out and I think X was the last album that I was like, all right, I'm going to buy the fucking new Def Leppard album. And that album was so, if I remember right, just light and so unlike, and I know bands have to grow. I'm not against that, but I listened to it and I was like, what is this? And
Yeah.
I do remember that song and I remember thinking, well, this is, you know,
Yeah.
something that's kind of decent, but I think that's where Def Leppard really I started to get a little iffy with Def
Yeah.
Leppard albums.
And it was bookended by it was Slang and X, and then right in the middle was Euphoria. So it was like, oh, maybe they're back because Euphoria was so great, Slang was so different.
Euphoria is very good.
Yes, and then X was like, shit, we're kind of like not extreme Slang, but we're not exactly Def Leppard.
Yeah.
And I saw them on this tour, and they played Four Letter Word, and Phil, my boy Phil, we locked eyes, and I was singing along. I was singing along to Four Letter Word, and he was like, he gave me a thumbs up, and I was like, fuck yeah, because I love that song, but it's the only song on the album that really stands out. I will say that the Def Leppard from 2015, the self-titled album, has 3 really good songs on it.
Yep.
But anyway,
Okay.
you asked my number 12. My number 12 is Let It Go. Okay. So you can't beat the riff. They were still more AC/DC than Hysteria polished at that point, which was awesome. But this is like a lot of people's favorite Def Leppard album. And this song absolutely shreds. It climbs the ladder. It delivers. They play it live all the time still, which is a fan favorite and everybody loves it. I love songs with breaks in it so that people can like air drum, air guitar, sing to, and Joe, like I said, climbs that ladder. And you've referenced it before where you're like, no way he's going to hit this note. And he does. So Let It Go is one of my early Def Leppard discoveries, and I figured it was a big way to kick off this ripping list.
Oh shit. I mean, and I won't go into it too much, but yeah, that opening riff, and the opening track off High and Dry, which, the On Through the Night comes out, High and Dry comes out, the first album with Mutt Lange, and that song starts, and you're like, what the shit was
Yeah,
this? So I
yeah,
will sure have more comments later on that.
bet.
Okay.
Very good.
Um, my number 12, and I probably shouldn't say this, but I just will. It's my only track from Adrenalize. And
Okay.
if you watched the round table, you know that I said Adrenalize was my least favorite of the first five albums. And I said this. I said musically, I love a lot of the stuff. I just lyrically it kind of lost me. And so I do enjoy listening to that. But the last song on the album was a holdover from Hysteria called Tear It Down.
Yeah.
And that song is like if your foot doesn't start tapping during that tune, you might want to go to the doctor and get it checked out because it rips. I listened to both versions, but I'm like, hey, I'm just gonna say the Adrenalize version so I can say that I got one song from Adrenalize, and I think this is a fantastic moment on that album, and I feel like that album had so much more potential if they had just made it more of the times lyrically versus when you look at the great albums that were out in 92, Dog Eat Dog, albums that came out in that period, Wingers Pull, they missed a chance to make that a deeper album than what they did. So, but I love the song Tear It Down.
Awesome. Yeah. Again, we're gonna hark back to the round table. I love Adrenalize. Um, I believe it was my number 3 of the big 5 on that top on the round table. And yes, I think that they should have gone more retroactive than Adrenalize
Yep.
in the extreme polished department. Hysteria is the perfection of polished. Adrenalize was a bit much.
Yep.
So that being said, I have no Adrenalize on my list, which is crazy because I have the bulk of my honorables are Adrenalize because I really love that album.
Yeah.
And I was this close to putting Tear It Down on there.
Sure.
I also am a sucker for Heaven Is, and I Want to Touch You.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, that's a great choice by you.
Okay. I'm shocked. You
I know,
don't have
dude.
any Adrenalize. Well, I mean, okay. And you're always good for throwing a few curveballs in during these videos.
Yeah, agreed. But it's also because I'm obsessed with this.
Right, right. I love that shirt. Shit, I need one.
That's killer. Nice,
All right.
dude.
Let's move on to your number 11.
Okay, number 11. Here's where I got 2 steps behind. And I'm a sucker for Def Leppard mid-tempos. And I can make an entire list of either ballads or mid-tempos and whatever you want to categorize it as. But this one, I much prefer the acoustic version for this because there is an electric version.
Yep.
And it's good. But this one is like, it doesn't compare to me. It's a very acoustic song. So another huge buildup, another huge chorus. So easy to sing to. It's fantastic. And these songs, any of these songs that I'm talking in my 12 could easily be kicked up to my top 3. That's how much I love Def Leppard, and that's how many great songs they have. So 2 Steps Behind came out on the Last Action Hero soundtrack, and then it was also on Retroactive. So they had 2 versions of it, and like I said, I much prefer the acoustic.
I love the Retroactive album.
I love it.
And I was, most people know I love pussy ballads because I'm a big pussy. Ain't that right, Brian?
Paging Dr. Faggot. Dr. Faggot.
That's where Brian goes. Yep, big pussy. Anyway, so I love that song, and part of me was like, find a place for that. But I just couldn't do it. So it's in my honorable mentions. It's really good ballad and came out at a difficult time. That was that in 93?
Yeah.
or 92, but still was a pretty big hit, if I remember.
Yeah. Oh
So
yeah. And yeah, it was. And it's still played in their live set today, and it still is received well.
yeah, yep. All right, my number 11 is my first song from Pyromania, which from the round I don't want to talk about the round because I want people to watch the round table. So the round table is in the links, or is in the description. So Too Late for Love,
Ooh.
Pyromania, that slow, moody build up, and you're like, maybe it's a ballad. Then it
Yeah.
kicks in, and I look at this album, and I look at High and Dry, and their ability to come up with just epic, catchy guitar riffs. I don't play guitar, like when people talk about AC/DC, one of our favorite bands, like people will say, "Oh, it's simple 3 chord, whatever." I don't care if it's simple or not. If you can put 3 chords together and make it sound awesome,
Yeah.
then that's what you should do. So when I listen to the guitar riff and like Too Late for Love and maybe some of the other songs, like I'm thinking, well, that's probably pretty simple, but it is so epically catchy, and I don't want to take all my comments from some of the other songs, but they did a really great job back then of having slow and then kicking it in and just changing the pace. So Too
Yes.
Late for Love, man, awesome song from Pyromania. It's my number 11.
Nice, dude. I'll remain quiet.
Okay. All right. We're on to your number 10.
All right. Stage fright.
Ooh.
Uh,
Oh,
I can't think of a much better opening song for a concert than this, besides maybe some AC/DC shows. But thinking about this, just check out In the Round in Your Face, which I'm going to refer to a lot because that's probably in my top 3 live performances of all time. The video was amazing. The album is out on the Hysteria Deluxe edition now, and I always used to want that album on just audio to crank all the time because I had the VHS growing up, and it was so good.
yeah.
I hope none of it's doctored, and I don't think it is. Even if you remember this is tangent, but even reading interviews with Vivian Campbell back in the day when he was with Whitesnake, he said they went out to see Def Leppard on the 87, 88 tour, and he was certain that they were using tapes. He
Right.
was like, there's no way they sound that good.
Yeah.
And he was proven wrong right then, right
Yeah.
there. So I don't think Def Leppard used tapes. And I think In the Round in Your Face is all live because as true fans, we can tell when something's slightly different
Yep.
than the album. And anyway, so tangent alone,
Yep.
huge Mutt chorus on this one. This is Mutt Lange perfection, epic guitar work. The intro and the verse is so hard driving, and then all of a sudden the chorus kicks, and it's just like the smoothest chorus, and it just like brings you back down, and then bam, right back to ripping. And it's probably has something to do with the drum tempo, and then going into good chords versus what they're doing in the verses. But they're so intricate and great at that guitar work that you don't really notice it until it hits that chorus, and you're like, whoa, this is so smooth and huge. So Stage Fright, great opener, great song.
In my honorable mentions, it was another one where I'm like, fuck, you
I
gotta
know.
find a place for that. I love that song. I love
Yeah.
that opening. And like you said, that's the perfect. I said, welcome. You should probably be singing that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So that's awesome and shit. There were so many songs. I'm like,
I know.
and I could have put the whole fucking Pyromania album.
I know.
I think that's a perfect album. But
I know. That was
Okay.
funny. I was going to say that. Hey, guess what my top 12 is? Here's Hysteria. See you later.
yeah, have a good one. See you guys. Gotta go hang out with the kids now. All right.
Yep.
Okay. My my number 10 is my first mention from High and Dry. And it's the title track, High and Dry Saturday Night. I love the guitars on that song, and it's such a party song. So yes, I'm a recovering alcoholic. I turned 20 years sober on July 4th of 2024, just recently, but I still have great memories of my party days. being in high school and playing a song like this, and when he's like, we've been drinking all day, and I'm like, dude, that, and that fucking guitar riff comes in, and I'm like, son of a bitch. I'm like, every now and then, I get like the shit. I wish I could go out and have some beers with my college buddies again.
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
I know I can't, but I love this song, and it just reminds me of some great times when I was younger.
Oh, dude. Awesome that you included this thing. Let It Go was my only High and Dry song.
Okay.
Although I love the album. I love it very, very much.
Yes.
I'm so happy that you put this song on here because as you're talking about it, it's going on in my head. And I'm just like, I love that shit.
Yeah. Yep. All right. We're on to your number 9.
All right. Okay. Here's a huge one. I got Rock of Ages right here. Okay. One of my early Def Leppard discoveries. And I have a lot of singles on here. And it's because Def Leppard had a lot of singles and they're still killer. So I don't care what you say. There's a few album track curveballs ish, but I'm pretty straightforward on this list. So sometimes like people are so focused on the enormity of Hysteria that they forget that just 4 years prior, Pyromania was equally enormous. And I don't know if it's an age thing or if Hysteria kind of overpowered the enormity of Pyromania at times, but this was huge. It was the blueprint for what's to come in 80s hard rock. And another fun song to sing along to, simple but effective music video, and it's got a lot of personality to it.
I love that song. I don't Okay, I need to talk about it later, but I don't want to keep because I don't want people to know what's coming up. But yeah.
Nice.
Comment later. Okay.
Very good.
Good show.
All right.
My number 9 is my first song off Hysteria, and it's Animal. And this at one point, this might have been my number 1 Def Leppard song, and sometimes it still is. I think I played it so much back in the day because that might be one of the catchiest choruses of all time. It's, is it a ballad? I don't think it's a ballad. To me, it's kind of a mid-tempo song, but I know that was the first song because I bought Hysteria right away. And, I wasn't sure about the first single, Women. It's not on my list in here. I liked Women. It's I don't know if it's aged that well, but I liked Women. But listening to the album, the first song that I was like, holy fuck, was Animal. And I think to a lot of people, this is one of the songs off Hysteria and maybe in the Def Leppard catalog that a lot of people can agree that's an ultra catchy song. Almost everybody loves this song. When we do the roundtable, even Brian from the Hairband Basement, who is not a Hysteria fan, I think he said that this was probably his favorite song. Maybe I'm wrong, Brian. You can correct me in the comments. But I know that he talks highly of that song. I love that song. It's my number 8.
I'm going to remain very quiet.
I knew that song would be somewhere in your list. So
that's right.
Sure. Okay.
But I love your appreciation for it.
Oh, shit. Yeah. Okay. Your number Was that my number 9?
Yeah.
Okay. Your number 8.
All right, cool. Here's where I got Too Late for Love. And again, you covered it. I think we're going to match up on some of these, but yes, the slow chug kick in with the amazing guitar. Joe's voice is in perfect shape for this song. It also showcased the background vocals, and we love the background vocals in Def Leppard. And again, huge early 80s example of Def Leppard, cool music video. And I believe they even have a little touch of eyeliner in this music video, which is different for the boys back then. So I remember the Historia, that music video. And it even talks about how they were happily lip syncing to this thing on set, and they were very, very intoxicated at that point. But yeah, fun music video. They look a little different,
Yep.
and it's just like everything you said. Killer slow chug, awesome. Everything about it, killer.
Charlie wants to say hi because you're very famous on YouTube. And
I haven't
Charlie's a
seen
little
Charlie in a while.
Oh yeah. And if you notice in my last you haven't seen the cat. Well, the cat's not big on coming onto YouTube, but we let the cat outside. I let the cat and the dog outside this morning. And the cat does, I mean, she loves being outdoors, so she always comes back. She's been outside for about 12 hours and she's not in the backyard. I think, and I think Steph Curry is a he. I'm pretty sure I see a big rack of balls behind his legs.
I love it when balls are in my face.
That's gay.
So I'm
Like
sure
father, like son.
sure he's out banging chicks and on all sorts of stuff because sometimes he comes back and he's on the back patio and he's like, dude, I have no clue the shit I've seen, but you need to let me in for some water and some nums and I need a fucking nap. Like he looks like he's got the 1,000-yard stare. He's like, holy shit. It was crazy, man. So anyway, hopefully the cat comes back because I don't know if Charlie misses the cat, but I kind of miss the cat. So
Dad light my cigarette.
and yeah. It's like, yeah, it was a hell of a night, man. And I'm not trying to joke about losing the cat, but the cat's miserable if I leave it inside. And I've always I'm like, fine, go live your life. Sometimes he's been gone this long and he still shows up, but every time it's been this long, I'm always like, hopefully he didn't get hit by a car or something. Fuck. But anyway. Okay. All right. My number, what is this?
8.
And my
Eight
number
for you.
8, geez. My number 8 is another song off High and Dry, Another Hit and Run.
Ooh, nice.
I love I look back and I'm like, fuck, they used to have such kick-ass guitars. Not that they don't, but like when you hear their newer stuff, it's like sometimes you can hear that they're trying for that old sound, but they used to be, I don't know if raw is the word because we know that Mutt Lange is known for polish, but they just sound raw and fucking scratchy and kick-ass. And this is the album where I think Joe Elliott found his voice. I didn't hear it on Through the Night. I like On Through the Night. I don't know that I love On Through the Night. I don't know if you see the power that you hear on a song like Another Hit and Run. I don't know if you see that on Hysteria even. But that range that you hear on Let It Go that you talked about earlier. So anyway, not that it was needed because Hysteria is a great album, but this is just if you look at Def Leppard on High and Dry versus now, it's a completely unrecognizable band. And obviously you're going to change in 40 fucking years, but I think Another Hit and Run it's one of, I won't say, but I got a couple songs from High and Dry and that's one of them. It comes in at number 8.
Look at you with the album tracks. I love this shit, dude.
I've never been so happy in my whole life.
I was hoping you'd pick me up and pick up my slack on my lack of High and Dry.
Okay.
And so far so good.
Yeah. All right.
Love this song.
I got you covered, man. I got you covered.
Thank you.
I'm here
Appreciate
for you. Okay.
All right.
We're on to your number 7.
Okay. This one's for you, Brian. Here's where I got Love Bites doing one of my favorite ballads of all time. And it's great. And I love it. And there's so many harmonies. The pre-chorus is perfect. The post-solo, post-drum stop, Love Bites, staggered with Mutt. Mutt doing the other Love Bites on there, not the backing fellas, is absolute timing perfection. The classic album Hysteria DVD really digs deep into this song, and they say how many takes it took for that to happen, where Mutt wanted to keep doing it, where they staggered the Love Bites right after the solo. And it probably pissed him off, but they nailed it. It must have been painful, but I really do like this ballad. It's one I legitimately never turn off. I listened to it today. It came on. I was kind of going through all these songs and it came on. I was like, nope, listening to it. Love it. And if it weren't for, let's see, Steelheart and Home Sweet Home, this might be my number one.
What album is Home Sweet Home off of? Was the
I think it was New Tattoo.
Oh wait, no. What's
I thought you were joking.
no, shit.
Love Bites?
When you said Steelheart,
Yeah.
and then you said Home Sweet Home, and I'm like, is Home Sweet
Oh,
Home?
yeah,
Steelheart?
yeah.
You're talking about Motley Crue.
Right.
And
if
then-
it wasn't for I'll Never Let You Go.
Yes,
and Home Sweet
okay.
Home, this might be my number
I should
one.
probably edit that out because that's going to make me look like a douchebag. And be like, Home Sweet Home? Who's
No,
saying that? Look,
I went-
you don't know anything about hair metal.
I went band name, song title. It's
Yes.
not your fault.
Yes, it kind of threw me for a loop. Okay, well, Charlie heard you talking about Love Bites, so now she's got to go puke outside. So I'm just kidding. Go outside. Don't you got to go? Yeah, go outside. So I know in the past I've shit on Love Bites. Admittedly, I loved it when it came out. And if I remember right, and you'd be the one to know, I think this is the only Def Leppard song that went to number one.
It may have. I know it went to number one,
Yes.
and I know albums went to number one, but I
Yes.
think this is the only
I
single.
think this is the only, and correct us in the comments because maybe there was another one, but I think it's the only one that went to number one.
It's also the only song that made their parents cry. So you know there's something to it.
Right, right. And again, came out. I worshipped this album. I really liked that song. It's just at some point, like when you're a fucking kid, like my son used to love the fucking Wiggles, and my daughter used to love Teletubbies, and then I just feel like I kind of grew out of some of that shit. But I'm not. I feel like I'm bashing on you. I'm not meaning to. So.
Bash away, dude. We all got opinions, but also
That's right.
It may come back to you. Just like You Shook Me All Night Long came back to me. Living on a Prayer came back to me.
Yep.
Maybe a Def Leppard song we might talk about came back to me too. But these songs are so overplayed that sometimes you just go, ugh.
Totally.
And then you really find the true perfection and meaning in these songs. Yep. And you're like, gosh damn, why did I ever give up on this thing? So Love Bites is one where I've always been pretty obsessed with how amazing the vocals are.
Yeah.
And Joe really climbs the ladder. So that's why I love it.
So one thing, like I just recently, preparing for this, listened to Adrenalize, and I'll be honest, I was surprised that I was like, fuck, like, if I don't overthink the lyrics, and it's not like I think lyrics are the most important thing. I think the most important thing is melody. But if I wasn't thinking about the lyrics, I was like, fucking A. Like a lot of songs that Heaven Is, Stand Up were kind of grabbing me, and I was like, so anyway.
Dude, on the Adrenalize note, okay. So Let's Get Rocked. People shit on that song. I get it. It's got a silly video. The title's interesting. But for me, so my last name, super long last name, my initials are RVK. Yep. So for my whole life, people have always called me VK. Ryan's kind of boring. Everybody's named Ryan. But there's the part in Let's Get Rocked that says, 7-day weekend, up all night. And I was certain for about 10 years they said, send in VK, up all night. And so that song always has a certain place in my heart. It's not on my list, but I'm telling you, I swear they say that, and it's for me.
The first time I saw Def Leppard live was on the Adrenalize tour. It was called
7-day
Weekend Tour. And I worked security at the Fargo Dome and they came with Ugly Kid Joe. I can't remember if there was anybody else, but anyway.
Nice.
And every time I've seen them, they've been awesome. I mean, they sound great live. So
nice.
Right. My number 7 is another one from Pyromania. Again, perfect album. Is Action Not Words.
Oh, my man after my own heart. I love it.
The guitars are just phenomenal. And again, I am a lyric guy. I love the message behind the song. Like, fucking don't tell me, show me or do it. And so that is something that I play when I'm working out to get my blood pumping. It's like, fuck, it's just, 4 on the floor. It's going. Like the message behind it is something that I really stand behind. So, a great song and comes in at number 7, and I can't say enough good about it.
With my wine and my caviar.
Hell yes. Hell yes. So,
Dude, oh, I wanted so bad to put it on here because I've been preaching for years that this is my number 1 album track on Pyromania, and it still is, but it's on my honorables, and there was no room for it, I think.
sure.
But dude, I'm so stoked you put this on here because this is like the ideal melodic hard rock song. So
Yes.
great job.
Yes. All right. Your number 6.
Okay, so here's a random one. It's called She's Too Tough. And this is from Retroactive. This is the secret retroactive song that shows Joe Elliott's voice and where he climbs that ladder into that stratosphere and he just lives there. In fact, he may even be more comfortable in this high register than he is on the lower stuff. So they wrote this song for the band Helix, and Helix performed it very well. They released it on an album. It's a really, actually, they do a very good job. He's got a very crunchy, kind of like ballsy, raspy voice too. So then Def Leppard recorded it themselves. I don't know when they recorded it. Maybe it was 92, 93 for this album, or maybe they put it out in the mid 80s and Helix took it.
Right.
So it stands out for me because the opening riff is, we talked about it before, kind of like those, when you strum individual guitar strings versus a chord.
Yep.
And they do it in a very melodic sense, a la like Europe, a lot of Def Leppard, like Animal and whatnot.
Yep.
But Joe's vocals are killer. They're followed by that high-paced kick in with the drums, and then they do like a pre-chorus a few times in the song, and it says "She's no angel," and the whole band sings that part. So if you don't know She's Too Tough, and you aren't that familiar with Retroactive album, it's a great album, and She's Too Tough is one of those songs where you go, where the hell was this my whole life? You'll see what I'm talking about.
I need to listen to it because I remember it's been a while since I listened to Retroactive. I remember loving that. I remember when that came out thinking, well, this is better than Adrenalize.
I know.
So, but like right now I'm not hearing that song. So I'm gonna go, I was like, fuck, I gotta write that down because I need to check that out. So
yeah.
I love it when you come up with some of those unexpected because you that's okay, cool. So
nice.
awesome. All right. My shit, number 6, right? Number 6. Jeez,
yeah.
completely losing my mind. All right, another one from Pyromania. Feel
nice,
but Coming Under Fire. They did such a great job, and I mentioned this before, of changing pace. There's quieter parts, like you're barely hearing guitar, just little parts, little pieces of it here and there, and then all of a sudden the thing comes and stomps your fucking head, and the chorus comes in, gets my blood pressure going. They did such, there wasn't, I don't feel like a straight ahead ballad like love song on Pyromania. They had their quieter moments, some parts where you're like, oh shit, this is kind of slow. But usually even the slower things kicked in at some point, and that's what this song does. And lyrically, I love it. I love something that just gets you, like, even just thinking about it right now. I'm like, oh, I can hear the chorus in my head. So love that song. Comes in at number 6, Coming Under Fire.
Well, dude, there was a reason why DJs used to just play this album.
Oh yeah,
in the old days, that was it. They would just play it, and this is an album track, never a single, and it was one that you could play on radio, and people would be like, "Cool, it's right there with like Don't Shoot Shotgun, Love and Affection, Action Not Words, Die Hard the Hunter." Like all those songs, you're like, why not just play the whole freaking thing?
They had 7 singles on Hysteria. I think they had 7 on Adrenalize, and they could have had 7 on Pyromania. But I think, what was it? Did it have 5? I think
I think so. You know,
five singles.
the thriller of hard rock.
Right. Yeah. And the only reason Pyromania didn't get to number one, made it to number two, was because of Thriller.
Damn it.
Yeah. Michael Jackson, fucker. Okay. All right, you're number 5.
Okay, a little known song called Pour Some Sugar on Me. And this was what I imagined the cherry pie elephant in the room would have been for us, but I did include it. So
Yeah.
after all these years, I still rarely turned it off. I still see why it was so massive. The progression of this song is mapped out perfectly. Killer little stinger of a guitar riff to open it all up with. Huge chords, massive backing vocals, and just a killer vibe. And this song stands the test of time. There was a time like maybe, I don't know, 10 years ago, I was at a wedding and we were in Tahoe, and there was a shuttle bus back to our hotels and to the after party. And the shuttle bus was full of wedding goers that were super sober, not. And we were all going back to the after party. And at one point I go, shit, there is nothing going on. So I just went, take a bottle, shake it up. And next thing you know, boom, the whole bus explodes with this. Because we had just played, Journey, AC/DC, Bon Jovi, Def Leppard, and everybody was still feeling it. And everybody, like I said, super sober. And I did this, and it was like my one rock star moment in life. And I was like, yes. And everybody took over, and the whole bus started singing. And then all the out of key chicks started singing their terrible versions of Journey and Queen and all this stuff. But anyway, for a minute there, I was also pretending to be Joe Elliott. So this was in the 2000s, obviously, and it still stands up the test of time. So Pour Some Sugar on Me. Love this song. Never turn it off.
And we didn't pump it during the intro, but you have had other rock star moments as the lead singer of Metalcast. Go check out Headbangers Ball. Go check out Heavy Metal Rambo. What's the glam? What's the
Theater of Glam.
Theater of Glam? Yes,
and Fighter.
And Fighter. So those guys are him and Metal Mike from the '80s Glam Metalcast, bringing the '80s back. So
nice.
And shameless plug, I just put out a video last night about Gene Simmons being on Dancing with the Stars, and it was kind of controversial, but credit to that network. I didn't watch it, but Dancing with the Stars did a hair metal night, so you can tell fucking the '80s are they're back in, and people are loving this stuff. So
right,
that. And I'll say this about Pour Some Sugar on Me. I loved that song, and I still do. It's not on my list, but I loved it when it came out, and still when people say you can't dance to rock music, I'm like, fuck. We always thought Pour Some Sugar on Me was, and that was like dance music,
right?
So we loved when shit like that came on during fucking high school dances, and so I still think like, man, I mean, they did a perfect job of making rock fit
great again.
Make rock great again. Hey, somebody's got to do it. But it fit in with anything. I mean, there's times where I listen to Pour Some Sugar on Me and I'm like, shit, did they invent rap rock?
You ass-turd monkey fucker!
I know.
It kind of sounds like he's rapping some of the vocals, but I mean, what a huge song. The song that broke the album. At first they were like, fuck, are we gonna make our money back? I heard they had to sell like 3 or 4 million copies to make the money back that it cost to produce it because it took so long. And then Sugar came out, and all of a sudden the fucking tills started ringing and the cash started flowing in. So
just like in any profession, the fire service, baseball, whatever, stories become inflated. I've heard Hysteria had to sell 3 million. I believe it's up to 6 million now just to break even, but also to the point of the rap rock thing. Back in Black, you Pour Some Sugar on Me, and If You Don't Like It by Cinderella.
Yeah.
The 3 songs where I swear they never take a breath. And it works so well. It could be rap rock, but it works very well for us.
But and I hear you. And Kiss may have invented rap rock, and now fuck, I can't remember the name of the song. But Paul Stanley's like, I'm walking down the street, minding my own business, and some guy walks up to me and he says, "Hey, why do you look the way you do?" And blah blah. And he's like, "I'm the man. I am cool." It's kind of the dumbest fucking thing ever, but it's so Paul Stanley, and it sounds like rap. So anyway,
Yeah.
don't let me try to rap or sing in the future. Okay.
That was
All right.
good. That was good. I think Kip Winger did it in The Heart of the Young too, which
There you go. There you go. Kip's done a lot of shit. And Kip said he banged more chicks than anybody in Metallica. So I believe that. Okay.
that ain't tough, I'm sure.
All right. My number 5 is one more off High and Dry. I think this will be my last High and Dry placement, but it's Bringing on the Heartbreak. Was that,
Nice.
have you already listed that? Fuck, I can't.
Nope, but I was hoping you would.
Okay. So again, a song that starts off like, is it a ballad? Very slow guitar riff at the beginning. I'm thinking it's a ballad. Then you get to the chorus, and again, they do that. They fucking blow the roof off that guitar riff. When he's like, taking all the best of me. Dun, 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 dun,
Oh
dun.
yeah.
Like, holy fuck, I love that part. Wasn't a massive hit off High and Dry, but got re-released when Pyromania started to blow up, and people were like, fuck, there's a lot of songs off that High and Dry album that we didn't really
Right.
know about that are great. So it kind of got put back out, became a hit 3 years after it got released in the first place. Still love that song. Still love that guitar riff, that part that I was talking about. Oh, so comes in at number 5.
Yeah. And I know people hate the 84 version because they did the keyboards on there, and it is not as good. I do not like the keyboards they put on there.
Right.
And then again in the Round in Your Face version, they do like the flamenco guitar, and they do it very very mellow. And then Joe comes in with the no, no, and he just kills the rest of it. And then they play it very true to form after that.
Right.
But it's really cool to hear him mix it up. Even the next album, it was like usually people mix shit up like 20 years later just to like get something different. But they mixed this song up 4 years later, and it was awesome. So I'm happy with that.
Hell yeah. All right. You're number 4.
All right, here's where I got the song Hysteria. And this is one of my Def Leppard favorites. I think I consider this a mid-tempo versus a ballad, but it's kind of interesting that it's also like, okay, so see if you agree here. It's interesting that a mid-tempo is the title track on an album. Usually, usually it's the rocker or maybe the first single, but this is not a rocker at all. It could be even considered a ballad, and it's the, you get a title like Hysteria. You think it's going to be a hysterical, crazy song, but it's a freaking mid-tempo ballad. But there's a lot of depth to it, and it's certainly amazing. This song probably could have been performed by like any pop artist at the time and still been a number 1. I feel like this song is one of my favorites because, again, it's so fun and easy to sing along to. Men and women can both do it. The pre-chorus is amazing. It's crossover gold, and they really hit the nail on the head on this whole album if they wanted that crossover stuff by not selling out still, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Other people's opinion, yes. But Hysteria is a huge one for me.
It's not on my list, but I still think that's a great song. I was always like, is it a ballad? But I think it's got sticky, sweet, catchy chorus. I really loved it back in the day. I mean, probably one of the. I mean, that album got played. All those singles got played so much.
Yeah.
I mean, in order to sell 13 million copies, your shit's going to be on the radio a lot.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, loved that song back in the day, and I think it's not one that I look at now and I'm like, fuck. I still enjoy it. So
Totally.
all right. Well, we're gonna stay on Hysteria for my number 4. And man, I pumped this song in the round table. It's still the soldier in me just gravitates to the song. It's Gods of War. I
Oh boy.
love it's got a great bass line at the beginning. I love the military overtones. You know, I served 22 years. I was in two conflicts, Iraq in 2003, Kosovo in 2009.
You would need 3 promotions to get to be an asshole.
And, you know, like nowadays even more so now, the more I've learned about, you know, the military industrial complex, the more I can relate to the message of wondering whose war are we fighting, you know? Uh, and like now you see like, and I don't want to get political, it might be a little political, but you see us like, oh shit, hey, we're involved in Ukraine, Russia, we're involved in this shit. And sometimes I'm like, fuck, why are we just doing this so people can profit off of it? Anyway, that'll be the end of my political message. I won't try to go any deeper than that, but I just relate to that message. You know, what the hell are we fighting for? You know, especially if it's not involved, if we aren't involved in it. So, and I love the Reagan line at the end. They
Yeah.
counted on America to be passive. They counted wrong. So, I think that's a really catchy song. One of the more lyrically different things that Leopard did on Hysteria comes in at number 4.
Well, okay, couple things here. Someone like you, we should listen to and figure out that maybe this opinion you have is pretty damn solid. Second of all, it's my number 3.
Oh, no shit.
So perfect segue. Appreciate that. The sneaker favorite of many, many people, really. So excellent choice by you. When they perform it live and Steve Clark starts with his own guitar solo and then tears into this opening riff in the Round in Your Face, he nails it. It's the perfect Steve Clark song. So the pre-chorus to this song with the false chorus tease is like the blueprint for like cool songs. When you think of a song with the pre-chorus tease, or I'm sorry, the chorus tease, this is the one. But one of my favorite parts of any Def Leppard song ever happens to be on this song, and it's post solo, and they're doing the pre-chorus, and Joe and Phil are like just feeling it, and they share the microphone and they do the whoa, that part, and it absolutely rules. And Phil comes in and does his signature background vocals. Dude, they still do it live to this day. We were at a concert years ago, probably 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and they did it. And I told my buddy, I go, watch that part, post solo, pre chorus, bridge. Phil's going to join the mic with Joe. It's going to be epic. And then he's like, dude, I see what you mean. That was killer. And it still is. And they just put out a live version of their stadium tour, I think.
Yeah.
And, it still rules. So
Yeah.
great choice.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, that's okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
I knew we were gonna have some overlap.
Totally.
So that's awesome. My number 3 was your number 12. It's Let It Go.
Nice.
High and Dry. And you said a lot of it. One of the greatest opening guitar riffs of maybe of all time. I think I said during the roundtable, I said there has been points where I thought this might be my favorite Def Leppard song of all time. These top few are kind of interchangeable for me. That swooping guitar, the unreal vocal power that Joe hits on some of these notes. It just announced that it was a completely different Def Leppard than you heard on Through the Night. I'm shocked that this wasn't a huge hit. The second time I saw Def Leppard live was on the Euphoria tour, and I just remember thinking, please play Let It Go, because you knew you were going to get a ton of Pyromania, you were going to get a ton of Hysteria because they were so huge, but I was like, please play my favorite song from High and Dry, and they did. And I'm like, no way can he still hit that shit. You know, I mean, this is like 96, and he fucking nailed it. And man, he's still sounds great doing this shit. So one of the catchiest songs ever comes in at number 3.
Awesome. I'm so pumped you had it way up there, dude. And yeah, he does perform it well. And when I saw them in 2001 or 2 on the X tour, can't remember what year it was, he did it great then too. And I was like, dude, he still got it. This is perfect. So, yeah, love that song, obviously. So great choice. It was just like we did a Britney Fox one, and my number 10. Well, never mind. Your number 10 and my number 1 were that. So anyway, it'll come out.
All right. We're on to your number 2. What do you got?
All right. Huge hit here, Photograph. So killer 80s music video, insanely catchy opening riff, and another song that's so massive that I never ever turn it off due to the overplay, because to me this song can't be overplayed. I love it. Watching Joe do this live, it's pretty impressive, because even in the 80s tours, it was tough to pull off this song live. From the I See Your Face part when he starts the pre-chorus, all the way to let's see, okay, I don't want to hear, okay, I want to, okay, I'm trying to remember the rest of it. Part I don't want you to do. Okay, anyway, the I don't want your, that part, and he sustains the word your.
Yep.
And it's so tough. He's got to be way up here for so long, and he kills it.
Yeah.
And it's just huge. And they had huge ideas in 83. They set the tone for 80s hard rock. And I would kill for some pro shot footage from the 83 tour with Def Leppard and Crocus as the special guest. So they were both peaking. They both were super young and pumped and stoked to be out there. And from what I hear, Crocus was at the top of their game too. So it would be so killer to see this pro footage. And there's like none out there for there's a little bit, but like, nothing official. So
I think there's like a 12-13 minute clip of like 3 songs from 83 that I saw recently. But I'm like, give us a full fucking Pyromania concert, please.
Oh God, that'd be so great.
So Photograph, awesome song.
Yeah.
Okay. My number 2. I'm like, fucking, do I look wimpy? I need to start lifting more. I feel like I'm looking at my arms and they're like,
you should just do a bunch of push-ups before you get on. You'll be all swole.
I don't want to look like a little bitch on this thing, so I'm just kidding.
Dude.
Just fucking with you guys. All right. My number 2, I can't remember it, but you've already had it. It's Rock of Ages. Nice. I love that song. It is. And back to when you said I think Photograph was the first song to break.
I think it was.
And I know I think, like I said, 5 singles, but I think Photograph was the first one that really exploded for that album. I don't know. I think it might have been the first single. I can't remember, and I didn't look before this. So anyway, Rock of Ages was a massive single. Most people know that fucking whatever it is, that counting, it's Mutt Lange counting in another language. Then you get that cool, that kick-ass line. It's better to burn out than fade away. I love that line. Other people have used that line. I love the space. And I don't think I realized it, but I was reading about this album, and the guy's like, there's no guitars in the verses. I'm like, what? Of course there's guitars in the verses. I'm like, fuck, I'm going to listen to that. You know what? There's no fucking guitars in the verses.
Yeah.
Until you get to the chorus.
Yeah.
It's just that the bass and the drums, and it kicks ass. I never get sick of this song. I work at I taught for 12 years, but now I coach at a basketball academy. I train little kids all the way up to high school kids. And so I always have 15 minutes before classes when kids are coming in, and I always play old 80s rock. And a lot of times this song comes on, and I'll walk up to like these 7 or 8 year olds, and I'm like, "Have you ever heard of Def Leppard?" They like, "No." And I'm like, "Well, this is now your new favorite song. It's Def Leppard Rock of Ages." And they'll be like, whatever. But anyway, I don't get sick of this. Again, a song that when we were in high school, this was a dance song. This is something that you would play and everybody would go out on the dance floor. So when people say you can't dance to rock, they're full of shit. Okay.
That's right.
So that is my number two. And
Very good.
I really do. I love that we don't share lists anymore, like on any of the things that we do, because now I have this genuine, what is going to be his number one? So with that, what is your number one?
And I want, and I need, and I love animal.
Hell yes. Hell yeah. I know you said earlier that you were going to, but I forgot that. Okay. Yeah.
It's probably my favorite song of all time. And it's generally when I come up with these lists, I write down all the songs and then I like whittle it down to 10 or 12. Yep. And then I arrive at my number one. This list, I was like, okay, Animal, number one, first song for sure. And I truly believe that this song is the perfect melodic hard rock song.
Yep. And
it's just got a little bit of everything for everyone, I think. And you got your O's and your ahs, your big ones, your hand claps. You got the memorable pre-chorus, the starts and stops towards the end, and the fantastic guitar solo. So hands down, it was going to be my number one on this list, and it might be my number one of all time. And then, I know at this age, like having a favorite song is a little juvenile, but like it's different because it's not like it's always been my number one song. It's not like it's always been my favorite. I've just come to the conclusion that like this song like never gets old to me, and it just speaks to me. So Animal, hands down.
Hey, it's not juvenile to have a number one song because I probably spend more time of my day than I should thinking about what is my favorite song of all time. Like that's genuinely shit that goes through my mind a lot. Like I spend a lot of my time thinking about just random, probably stupid rock and roll shit. But that's why I do this channel, because it just dominates a lot. I mean, look at my house. So I mean, I'm like, you might as well do a fucking music channel because that's all you think about anyway. So it gives me the opportunity to talk to you, and I legitimately enjoy these conversations. I don't have, and this is just random, but I think I told, was it Brian from the Hairband Basement? I'm like, fuck, I have good college friends, but I chat with you guys, and I've never met you guys. I chat with you guys more than I chat with my friends that live like 2 miles from me. So anyway,
did we just become best friends?
Yeah. Hello.
Friends who ride majestic, translucent steeds, shooting flaming arrows across the bridge of Hemdale.
All right. So awesome. I love that song, and I completely see why you chose it. I think a lot of people would agree with you. I think a lot of people would agree with me when I get to my number one, because it was it your number two? It's Photograph.
Yeah.
I even just thinking about it, I wish I kind of got goosebumps. And I said this on the round table, that opening pluck, and then all of a sudden one of the catchiest holy fuck. That's such an insanely catchy guitar riff. And it's not Photograph. It's actually a song that starts off with 5 of the most important words in rock and roll history. Do you want to get rocked? No, I'm talking. Yeah, it's Photograph. I just all of a sudden I was like, shit, I should just fuck with them.
That'd have been so killer, dude. I'd have been so down for that.
I think, Pyro is my number one Def Leppard album of all time. It is one of my favorite albums of all time. And this is my favorite song off of it. And take from that what you will. I don't know that it's my favorite song of all time. There are other songs maybe that I listen to more, but I can still this, when I was talking about playing music for kids, I always put Photograph. Like I just have an 80s rock playlist and Photograph. So I probably hear Photograph 4 or 5 times a week and
Nice.
I don't get tired of it. And
No.
anything that has to do with Pyromania or this song, I'm just all about. So it's my number one.
Awesome. Great choice, man. And you were saying the opening bang, and it's like same with Back in Black. You hear that?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just like this song, dude. You're like, oh, here it comes, and it's like, how many? You've probably heard that 1,000 times in your life, maybe more.
Yes.
And you're like, music to my ears. This is so killer, dude.
I don't know if it was Jay Brannon who does the roundtables and has done some stuff with us, or Brian, but they said like they think it was like he was getting ready to strum the riff and he accidentally hit a string.
Oh,
And then
perfect.
they just decided to keep it in. But whatever it is, like I
Yeah.
love those little like maybe it's a mistake, but it's just this kind of they threw this weird thing in there and I dig that
know.
shit.
Totally.
So with that, let's go through some honorable mentions. What do you got?
Yeah. Okay. Armageddon. I that another one was super tough to not include. Rock till you drop. Another one. Here's where I got my adrenalized chunk. Heaven is, tear it down. Personal property. Also good. I love and affection on Hysteria.
Yep.
Another one that could have been any other 80s bands, Crown Jewels.
Yep.
Action Not Words. Have you ever needed someone so bad? And then a little bit more modern, I have Paper Sun off of Euphoria.
What was it called?
Paper Sun.
Okay, yeah. Yep. Okay. I could have had many more. What I do during these I just before I even look at or listen to anything, I write down all the songs that come to my head because I'm like, if they're just in my head, they're probably and then I go through and I listen to the albums and go, oh fuck, forgot. So I write. So what I have left over from the songs that I wrote down, You Got Me Running off High and Dry. Rock Till You Drop. Almost shocked that didn't make my list.
I know.
Die Hard the Hunter.
Yeah.
Foolin', Run Riot, and I did pick one off of Euphoria, Back in Your Face. I love that opening.
Nice.
Like, I don't know, it just kind of cool and groovy and shit. So I could have put a ton more for honorable mentions, but
so my number 8 was Too Late for Love. And that was my slot where I actually had Don't Shoot Shotgun. Then I had Run Riot. And then I ended up with Too Late for Love. But Run Riot is another song where Joe Elliott does the She's Too Tough stratospheric level vocals. Yep. And he sustains it the whole time. And if you ever see like acoustic songs where they're playing, he kind of struggles with the lower stuff when he does like the lower parts of the song Hysteria or the lower parts of Too Late or Two Steps Behind, because Joe Elliott, I believe, is very comfortable way up here. Yeah. And like I said, he can live there and it's very impressive. So when he does the Run Riots, the beginning of Excitable, She's Too Tough, Tear It Down chorus, Rock Till You Drop, all that stuff, he's up there and he can just live there. And that's why he was my number one male vocalist of all time in our top 10. And that's why I'm so like impressed with his vocals. And he's still great. You know, he's a little different now. He found his way to be I don't know how old he is, mid 60s and still do it, at least mid 60s and still do it. It ain't the same. And you know, people like us can tell, but live, it's pretty damn close. Yeah. I think he's fooling a lot of people. So
I saw him, I think I didn't see the stadium tour, but I think I saw him in 2022. I took my son and
Yeah.
and I was like, shit, man. I mean, yeah, it wasn't, it's not 80, it's not live in the round on the Hysteria tour, but it wasn't like, fuck, man. It was like still like, hey, it's a little different, but it was still awesome.
Yeah.
So I I always definitely like when you think of the stadium tour, I thought musically the tightest band was Def Leppard. I
Yeah.
thought Poison does great when it comes to the in between. Brett Michaels is great with the energy and the get in the crowd. Joe Elliott's not really all right, let's fucking rock.
Yeah. Yeah.
But musically they were the tightest and I think one
Yeah.
of the best live bands musically out of the hair metal scene.
Yeah. And interesting, we didn't have Rocket, we didn't have Women, and we didn't have Foolin on the list. And
Or Armageddon. And I started to think
Oh,
about Armageddon. I loved Armageddon back in
Yeah.
the day.
Yeah,
Shit.
and Armageddon it, and those are like huge singles, except for Women. But like I don't love Women in Rocket.
No.
And I think of all the singles, Foolin' is probably my least favorite on that album. And it's not I love the song. It's just everything else was so overpowered. And even your choices with Coming Under Fire, Action Not Words, all those, like I probably like those better than Foolin'.
Yep.
Anyway.
When I was I was like, well, obviously Foolin's gonna make it. It was a big hit, but then I was going through and I was like, oh no, I got shit coming under fire, Action Not Words.
Yeah.
Gotta be over it. So
yeah, and I don't know if this is still on YouTube, but it used to be 4-letter word off of X. Phil and Vivian perform it live acoustic, and they trade off. Phil does the first verse, Vivian does the second verse. Dude, it's so killer. You got to check that out. I don't know if anybody can find that or if it's still out there, but it's well worth checking out. So
and then I need to listen to the one off Retroactive. She's
She's Too Tough.
Okay, I'm gonna do that when I get done with this. So
great song.
Hey, thank you for making it this far in the video. Tell us, what are your favorite Def Leppard songs? List your top 10, list your top 20, whatever you want. While I got you here, hey, like, subscribe, what the hell, ring the bell, and whatever you can do to support the channel. I just appreciate you being here. Ryan, thank you for being on to talk about one of your favorite bands of all time.
All right. Thanks for having me, man. It was an honor.
All right. Until the next video comes out, my name is Anthony. They call me the Guru. Take care.